The Worst Generation is a term used to refer to Yonko Blackbeard and the 11th supernova that arrived in the Sabaody archipelago before the war in Marineford. This generation of pirates is considered the most dangerous that has emerged in a long time. But not all pirates of that generation had a glorious fate. There are some who, despite having made a great show of power and performed incredible feats, ended up failing and being crushed, while others were simply irrelevant from the start and never did anything significant. So check now the list of pirates of the Worst Generation who failed in their journey in the Grand Line, starting with Trafalgar D. Waterlaw. Although he is a very powerful pirate, in most major confrontations, Law has had to rely on the help of Luffy and the Straw Hats or other pirates to emerge victorious, such as in his confrontation with Big Mama, where he received help from Kid. And in his first fight after breaking the alliance with Luffy, Law faced Blackbeard and was completely defeated. His crew was destroyed and Law had to be rescued by Beepo, who threw himself into the sea with his captain and fled far away from Blackbeard, leaving his companions behind. After the events of the Wano arc, many fans speculated that Law had reached a level comparable to that of a Yonko or something close to it. However, in reality, he is still far from that level, and although he's still alive and could be relevant in history again, Law's defeat by Blackbeard certainly marks a major failure for the character. He lost almost his entire crew, and his ship and equipment were destroyed, and if he wishes to persist as a pirate, he will essentially have to start from scratch or join an existing pirate crew. Basil Hawkins. Basil Hawkins is a North Blue pirate who had a significant role in the post-timeskip storyline and was one of the many antagonists that Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates faced in the Wano arc, where it was revealed that Hawkins was one of the Beast Pirates headliners. However, he failed to leave a strong impression on fans during this arc, and as the story unfolded, his lack of strength became increasingly apparent. Hawkins felt incredibly out of place in a country populated by extraordinary creatures and couldn't even surpass the vice captains of the other pirates of the Worst Generation. Although he certainly had impressive skills up his sleeve, Hawkins ended up failing miserably and was defeated by Killer in the Onigashima War, and from that point on, his fate remains unknown, but it's highly likely that he may have died. His character was quite impressive at the outset, and his ability was certainly more than entertaining. However, in the end, he ended up in failure. X-Drake. X-Drake was also a member of the Worst Generation, although he was actually a member of SWORD, who wanted to infiltrate the Beast's pirates and send information to the Marines. X-Drake pretended to be a powerful pirate for a while, and was impressive in the early parts of Wano. However, as the story progressed, X-Drake and his weaknesses were exposed. He was easily defeated by Queen after his betrayal was discovered in the Onigashima War, and from that point on, he got involved in several fights and couldn't impress anyone in any of them. Even when facing the CP0, X-Drake ended up failing terribly, and overall, his involvement in the Wano arc was marked by failures. Eustace Kid. Eustace Kid is a character who certainly divides opinions among fans. While he was a very powerful pirate, Kid was never particularly impressive. In Wano, he faced Big Mama, but was unable to do anything on his own and had to rely on Law for help, who did the bulk of the hard work during the fight. And his lack of strength became even more evident when he faced Shanks for the first time and was defeated with a single blow. Kid, along with his entire pirate crew, was thrown to the bottom of the ocean. So despite having a high reward and great achievements, Kid ended up failing. Killer. Killer was Kid's right-hand man, and was also a very powerful pirate. He was involved in the Battle of Monsters on top of Onigashima in Wano, but he didn't do anything impressive. He only managed to land an attack on Kaido that barely scratched him, and later, he engaged in a fight with Hawkins, where he performed very well. However, shortly after the Wano arc, he was utterly crushed by Shanks, and the attack that defeated Killer wasn't even aimed at him. The attack was aimed at his captain, but Killer also suffered damage and was completely knocked out, being thrown into the ocean with his companions. Scratchmanappu. Undoubtedly, Appu is the biggest failure of the entire Worst Generation. He jumps from one crew to another and does what he can to survive. He has no pride in being a pirate, and he has never had any significant victories throughout his history. In the grand scheme of One Piece, Appu is extremely insignificant, and is only used as a tool to advance the plot. He is not a proactive character, and is definitely a major failure among the Worst Generation, and fans will likely be disappointed with him in the future once again. And if you liked this video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new content post here, and see you soon.